Hello everyone, welcome to my first video of Tutorial Zoo. Today we're going to be talking about how we can place some rocks. We're going to be making a Dall sheep habitat. I made this habitat earlier, it's a reindeer habitat. In this video I'm going to talk about how we could make viewing platforms like this and how to get the right space. I know a lot of people have a hard time getting the right amount of space between the bottom, I guess, and the path. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. This right here. So it's kind of hard to gauge how much space you're going to need, mostly because I don't really see the animals when we're creating this. So one good tip that I have learned is this rock number 2. It's a pretty good, decent size, and I've learned that there's not any animals that can't get past it when you have it like lying down here. Like they can't move past that. It's too tall for them. Anyway, I take rock number 2 and kind of get it lower to the ground there, and then we just start placing it. I always like to rotate. That way, there we go. That's those rocks there. Then on top of it, you just want to layer it on top with a lot of those smaller rocks, like this. You could add some like plants, like in the nooks, to break it up, to break up the view. But I'm going to talk about how to do one of those viewing platforms. So for the sheep, I wanted to have like a little bit of a raised viewing platform. I guess those rocks would be fine then. I want to have a little bit of a raised viewing platform. So we're going to get out our paths, and we already have this path. It's going to be raised. Let's get that. Yeah, let's get this dark brown path here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold control, and control will let us move it freely without it being locked, and hold shift to be able to raise it up and down off the ground. So we're going to want to have it just close enough. You know, we don't want it to connect. But maybe if we just put it right in the center here. And yeah, I think that looks good. Cool. So on this side right here, I do want it to finish off right here, but I want it to be squared. So I'm going to hit align to grid so that I could align it to this very same grid of the path. And I should be able to get a square end. There we go. Let's take a look to see if we want it to go out that far. You know, that's fine. Actually, I don't mind that. And let's get the other side now. And no, I like it like right there. Okay. So we're going to deselect the grid now. So now we have this. So if we try to add anything at the end here, it's going to turn back into the round path. And we don't want that round path. We want to keep it square there at the end. So if we have angle snap on, we're able to select, I mean, we were able to select it there before, you saw that. But I like angle snap. Let's see if we can get a connection here. Let's try angle snap off for just a second. as you can see, like, the path is not, it's not easy, guys. It's not easy. Sometimes you have these ideas of what you want, and it just doesn't work out. So you just have to keep trying. So, alright. We know we like that idea. What we're gonna do here... Oh, you know what? Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Mistakes were made, people. Mistakes were made. Flattened terrain. We want to make sure that's turned off. Oopsie. There we go. See? Look, that whole time. It's a battle. I've been playing this game for a long time, and it's a battle. There we go. But you know, I don't like... I don't know. Do I like it? I don't know if I like it. Sometimes it bothers me that, like, these don't align right here. I don't know why that bothers me, but you know what I say? We're gonna say this is fine. We're gonna say this is fine, and we're gonna move on with our lives. We don't have time for this kind of stuff. Let's get some railing on here. I think I had turned this on, turned that off previously, so we'll turn on. I hit railing on elevated, make sure that that's checked. Take a look at all these options, guys. Like, there's a lot of different things on here that if you didn't take the time to look at, you would not know they were here. This is the settings tab under the path. So I'm just gonna this railing. This railing's nice. I like it. It's kind of like Nordic. It's gonna fit this side of the railing. Look at that, folks. Doesn't that look nice? Our sheep right there. All right. So now that we talked a little bit about how we can make that path, how that we can make that viewing platform, we're going to surround this with rocks like we surrounded the previous area, like this, well, this back area right here. So let's get putting down some rocks. So we're going to take rock number 2. It's my favorite rock. I use it the most. We're going to sink it down about halfway, and we're going to rotate it. We want it to kind of line up in some spots, not in others. And just drop it and rotate it. You want to give it some levels in certain areas. I was working on a workshop thingy earlier when I was doing that reindeer habitat, and there I kind of talked about how you want to layer your rocks. You don't want them all to be in a straight line all of the time, kind of like this here. So I dropped it down just a little bit. So then the next layer is going to overlap this top one. And you want to just do that every now and then, just to break up the lines. Otherwise, when you look back, you're going to see it just looks like a chunk. Like, it's kind of ugly. I don't know. Sometimes I put down rocks and I think that they're very ugly. Sometimes I put down rocks and I'm like, damn, that looks so good. Like, okay, that, it's alright, but look, 1, 2, 3 rocks that are all facing the same direction. That really annoys me sometimes, so what I like to do is just take the rock again, or rotate it some other way, and make it peek out just a tiny little bit. This like changes the appearance, well, kind of changes the appearance of the rock. It makes it look like it's not all the same rock just pasted over and over, even though it kind of is. But to me, this is easier than having to go into the rock thing and pick a new rock and blah 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 blah. Like, it's just easier to use this same rock and just rotate it. I don't really rotate it in any other direction other than this way, just because I'm lazy and this is easier for me. So what we're doing right here is we're going to be placing some, we call these transition rocks. So these are going to be low to the ground, Now, we don't want like people and kids to like be able to like get into the sheep, you know, because we know that there's people that do that. We know that. So we want to create areas where we can. We're gonna put a railing right here, just like this railing over here. We're gonna put that railing all along right here, and we're gonna decorate it with some trees here in a second. But let's go ahead and finish up these rocks. Again, this is for the sheep. Maybe we'll make a little like upper area over here where they can hang out. I see the barriers right there, but we'll extend it out a little bit so that way the sheep could hang out there. But let's get these rocks in place. Honestly, the rock work is the thing that like takes the most amount of time. To me, it's not hard. Like placing the rocks is not hard work. It's a lot of work, you know. So it gets a little bit annoying and tedious sometimes, but just take it a little bit at a time. You know, just don't do it all at the same time. It gets kind of annoying that way. But there we go. I think we are almost going to be done here. So we set this up, and then go ahead and take a look to see how it looks from the guest area. Also make sure, this is what I was talking about, like you don't want these kind of lines right here. Like, I mean, kind of looks okay, but I always think it looks better to break it up a little bit. Give it a little bit of depth. Put a rock in the back, let it float. They're not going to see it, you know. But this gives it like a little pocket where you can add some plants that are going to stick out from the background. There we go. Now we can put some trees right there and it will help give it some of that depth. So we got our rocks out. They look okay. I mean, it's not the best, but let's get some trees. But first, let's go ahead and paint this. I get really annoyed with the long grass. I mean, I like it, but it annoys me sometimes. So let's get rid of some of this long grass. There we go. Cool. Alright. Alright, cool. We're ready for some trees. Let's go ahead here. We're going to want to turn our filters on. This is, I like getting taiga and tundra for this area, and we're going to get the North American black spruce. This is like my go-to for this bio. So when you pull it out, you could see it like moves with the terrain. I like to just hold shift and bring it in a little bit, bring it up, whatever. That way it locks, it kind of just locks into place. You don't have to worry about the bottom sticking out. That's what thing that really bothers me is when I see those like lumps. Look at that. It's like, I don't know. It's weird looking. But anyway, I have to make sure it's in there. Oh, folks, one thing we forgot. Very important. From this gate, we can clearly see, I mean, from this, I already gave it away. But from this viewing platform, we can clearly see the gate. We don't like that. It's ugly. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit here on our viewing platform. And we're going to raise a rock so we can't see it anymore. Maybe like right there. Then we're going to rotate it. We're going to place another one. It's going to feel weird with the mouse because the mouse inverts when you're underneath it. Yeah, I guess. But anyway, there we go. Okay, so those are the base rocks. And let's just do our regular rock trick. I'll learn this to give it a little magic coat. You know, I don't know if anybody has seen Westworld, but when I make my theme parks or zoos or whatever, I always think of Westworld like none of my animals are real. They're just like robots that were created by Secret Garden Zoological Society, and people come and pay to have this experience because because in reality they live in like a post-apocalyptic world where like nature doesn't exist anymore. So I'm just like it's kind of sad, but I'm just like I'm recreating nature for them, you know. So that's what I like. I feel bad for thinking that, but you know, it could happen. It could happen, folks. We could still see the gate from here, and I absolutely hate it. So we're gonna put some rocks. I was gonna try something else, but rocks are the answer, guys. Rocks. Rocks are the answer. Okay. Let's get these in here for kids that have never seen a real Earth. Don't worry, guys. We still have Earth, and with everything going on, like we could see like you know like nature coming back and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe people are gonna be like, "Wow, we like this." Well, let's get some trees in here. I don't want to put in too much personal stuff. Anyway, trees. Let's get some of those trees in here. We want to vary them up. We want to make sure that we're not just pasting tree number 1. Tree number 1 is nice and all, but we want more than just tree number 1. You could start with tree 1 like this, you know, placing them, and then move on. Let's get some up here. I think I said this earlier, but background trees are very important. They help give the scene a little bit more depth. This is like a little plateau, so okay, let's add some trees at high level here. Okay, next tree is going to be the Douglas fir. So tall trees mix with small trees. When you put like, let's say we put these two together, I mean there's nothing wrong with this, but it doesn't look as nice as when you put a tall tree next to a short tree. So let's go ahead and try that. We're going to put this one back here. We're going to keep that tree in there lonely. Okay. And let's not forget this little area that we did over here. I think it'd be kind of fun to make it look like you're coming in through the trees or something. But you know what? We don't want to overdo it. It's easy to overdo. So we're going to put one up and one down. Okay. Let's get this tree down. And I think that's good. Let's work on some more rocks. Rocks are not my favorite part, but they're necessary, folks. These rocks are necessary. So here's a little technique. Get this is rock number 14 out. Drop it down in a few places. Give it some varying height. Don't put them all in a row. You're gonna get the whole row. Just let's do it like this. Rock number 3. We're going to put a few more. I think that's good for rock number 3. And then we're going to start looking for these little rocks. I don't really know what their numbers are, but I just kind of go through the rocks that I know are a little bit smaller, and I place those. I try to cover up the whole edge that's sticking out because it bothers me sometimes, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You could just place a few rocks and use some terrain paint. If you use rocks that are similar to the biome that you selected, then you don't have to worry about the terrain paint not matching too much, because the terrain paint will work and match the rocks. Well, it should, at least, for that biome. So say you're in a temperate biome, you have temperate rocks, your temperate rock terrain paint will match your rocks. So right now I'm using temperate rocks. I made the mistake when I first created this area of using rocks. I chose the, I think this is the taiga map, and it doesn't match. So now I have to put rocks everywhere because the terrain paint doesn't match. But if the terrain paint did match, then I would not worry so much about the rocks, and I would just spray the areas in between. Alright, so we got the rocks down. Let's get, I know we still got to put the foliage down, we got to terrain paint in here, but let's go ahead and get this fence down. That's going to take me a second, so let's get started right here. Now, I know I probably do this the long way, but honestly, the reason why I do it this way is because it lines up a lot better than freehanding it. I mean, I guess I can just freehand it this way, but sometimes when there's a difference in elevation, they don't line up as much, and I don't know, maybe I'm OCD. Obviously, because I keep saying, oh, that bothers me. So probably I'm OCD, but let's, I don't like doing it freehand. It's too much. It's too much work, and it's annoying to me, and this is a lot more precision. You know, I feel like I'm a doctor and I'm performing surgery here, but I'm not. This is just the fence. So, I mean, kind of the same thing, but not really. Anyway, let's get this in here. Let's not get hung up on things, folks. Let's learn to let it go. This game is supposed to be relaxing for us, and you know, it is to me. I do get relaxed when I'm doing this. I don't know. Sometimes I get relaxed. Sometimes I just want to punch my monitor in the mouth. But my monitor doesn't have a mouth, so I can't do that. And if I did, I wouldn't be able to play Planet Zoo anymore. So it's better to just take it easy. Alright guys, we got a problem here. What we're going to do is we're just going to forget about that, and let's we're going to Bob Ross this, right? Whenever you have a problem with railing, fences, whatever. I call it railing because it's a handrail. But whenever I have problems, what you do is you get a little gap going and just throw in a trash bin. Boom. Your gap is gone. Let's get rid of that rock. And there you go. No more gap. looks fine. Try to keep it even when you do that. I mean, if you can. If you don't care, put the trash can where you want. It's not necessary. One thing that I did a lot for a long time was I got so stressed out about what I was gonna do next that like I kind of just like froze, you know, and I wouldn't build anything. But you have to remember, folks, that this is your zoo. This is not anybody else's. It's not like people are gonna come in and be like, "Ew, I hate that fence." Like, it's not gonna happen. It's your zoo. Even if somebody did say that, like, who is that person? Because I don't want to know who they are. Let's move on with our lives, guys. Let's move on with our lives and continue with this fence here. I'm almost to the finish line. Sometimes I get desperate and I just want to look, but you know what? If you don't look, if you don't look, you might get there a little bit sooner. Just don't look. Just keep going. You're almost there. How long has this taken me? I don't even know. I've lost track of time. Okay, you know what? I was gonna edge that up, but I'm fine with it. Let's move this rock because I'm tired of that fence. I am getting really tired of it. Okay, look at that, folks. I told you. Well, nobody told me it couldn't be done, but I did it anyway. Look at it. Look at it. It's beautiful. Let's. I don't like how you can see that. Let's hide it. That's good enough. I think the sheep will be fine if they only have one side to come out of. But you know what? You know what all sheeps need? Let's see if we got the space for it. All sheeps need somewhere to sleep. So we're going to create a little area for them because we're not cold-hearted monsters. Let's go ahead and flatten this out right here. We're going to keep it simple, guys. We don't want anything complicated. We already had a hard enough time with that fence. So we're going to go and just get one of these pre-builds. I really like these metal ones. These basic ones. These are sheep. They're small, guys. They're small. They don't need a giant wall. We don't want greedy sheeps anyway. So let's go ahead and place this down. I hate that block on the bottom, so we're just going to go ahead in here and delete that. That's let's get rid of some terrible grass so that we can see what we're doing. Make sure we're not floating. Okay, cool, we're not floating. And let's give some bits. Just feel the bits. We got options. Disappear. Anywhere on the haze. There you go, guys. Okay. Let's surround this with rocks. We don't want anybody getting stuck or getting hurt. We do care about these sheep. And then we also want to make sure that we can't see them. We care about these sheep even though they're robot sheep. We care about them. Because we are still human. We haven't lost that, folks. Okay. Can we see our shelter? No, not really. Can we see it from over here? A little bit, but you know what? That's fine. Alright. Let's make sure that this is nice and smooth for any little sheep hoof that decides to come down. Let's go back to sampled here. I'm tired of that grass. I'm tired of it. I don't see it anymore. Okay. I never realized how bright the taiga grass is too. It's like, it just feels so green. I mean, I like green, but it's like yellow. A little bit yellow. Cool. There we are, guys. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of terrain paint. What I like to do is I like to put it down at 20%. Once we got all the grass in there, get it down to 20%, get this soil, look up from above. We want to get it as large as we can. I hotkeyed my brush size to my mouse. For some reason, I think it makes it even bigger. I don't know. Anyway, I want to just brush lightly with the soil at 20%. I want to get a good amount of soil in there. And then we want to go back with the grass at 20%. So a lot of that soil is gone. We're going to come back into the soil. We're going to lower this brush size down to maybe about the size. Try to get to about the size of the path, you know. I don't know, maybe a little bit bigger. I think something like this. There we are. But now try to think, pretend you are the sheep. You have become the sheep. Where do you go? You're like, oh, I want to go to my house. And like, I'm going to come down here and say hello, but I want some privacy. So I'm also going to come up here. And then like, I don't have a lot of space. So I'm just like, going to do these little like laps here. And I don't know. Just, you're the sheep. This is your life. You know? And like, this is what you do after you're done. It's kind of sad. This game is really sad, but it's supposed to be relaxing. Let's move on. We're gonna do some auto paint up here because this is driving me crazy. Let's get that up to 100%. The long grass up here could stay. That's fine. There we go. Alright, cool. So, now we're going to do some vegetation. Let's get our plants again. Let's get our filters going. And we're going to go ahead and start with this bearberry bush. So this part gets kind of tedious, but it's necessary, folks. I know it could get really, really annoying. I don't really have a method to this. What I kind of do is I go around the entire edge of the habitat, and I just like, I start placing where I think plants would grow. That's generally going to be in spots where seeds are caught, like in nooks and crannies, like by rocks, basically. One thing I've noticed just now in building is I didn't place any rocks in the center, so I'm going to go ahead and just take a second and do that. Just so that it's not so boring. And like I said, these are sheep, so you know what? Let's do some stuff for the sheep, because the sheep are kind of fun. They like to get on these rocks. Okay, I'm getting this rock number 4. This is for sheep. It's like nice and flat, so I can place it. I'm just gonna kind of layer it to give the sheep ample space to walk and to get on it. So now what we're gonna do, I got this little platform, just put some underneath. Good old rotate in place method. There we go. This will also help give us a little bit more direction in where we should place some of those plants that we had earlier. So now we got this big old hunk of space here. It looks very boring with without some of these trees. So we're just going to go ahead and pull them out, copy them, and we're going to place them. Whenever you're putting a tree in front of a viewing platform, you want to make sure that that tree is not taking up too much space or is not blocking the view too much. So just make sure you get one of these trees right here. Make sure I put this. Let's go ahead. Okay, there we go. Do you see how much that added? Just having those rocks, adding those rocks and those trees. Like this felt kind of boring, and sometimes that happens. You don't realize it until you're starting to place some plants, or you're moving on to the next step, and you're like, something feels a little weird. So let's go back to that bearberry bush, and let's just continue placing this down in some of those spots where we just put down some of the rocks. Ah. We are floating a little bit in the back there, but no one didn't see that. And we could put some bushes back there or around that area to kind of hide that. I'll do that in a second. Okay. I'm good with the bearberry bush. Let's move on to the crowberry bush. I know it's very similar, but it's a slightly different shade. And I would take anything to get like a little bit more texture, a little bit more color. And I think like it fits the palette as well. If you don't want to do this, then don't. You don't have to, but I do. I feel like when I don't do it, I'm like, dang it, I should have done it. But I'm learning that I think I have OCD. Like I never really thought about it, but now that I'm like saying it out loud, and I'm like, why does everything bother me? It's like it's a problem. Maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's fine. It's all just fine. All right, cool. I'm getting tired of this one. I don't want to place anymore. You're right, you can barely see it. Who am I kidding? Okay, let's move on to the diamond leaf. I like this one because this is gonna work as our shrub. So I like to put this one sticking out in a few places. You don't want to overuse it though. Just gonna play and see where you like it. I also like to put it underground. Try not to overuse it. I think I already said that, but try not to overuse the sticking out when it's sticking out on the ground. Just because it's a very unique shape, even when you rotate it. Now this one you could use a couple of times. You turn it this way. Turn it. Oh. It's right here, actually. Okay, let's get some green. Let's stop the rocks. We're gonna fix that. Actually, you know what? I don't want to pull out the rocks because then plants are gonna grow back and I'm lazy. Let's do a little improv, little improv, guys. Fill in some dents. Make sure you keep rotating it. Okay. Is that it for these? Let's do some more. Let's put some over here. And like that. Let's remove that. Okay, cool. That's enough of that. Let's do the lady fern. I really like the lady fern. It really adds, especially when you put it in the crowberry, cowberry, whatever berry bush. It looks really nice. What I don't like is that it has so many of the stems sticking out, so you have to really drag it in. But that's okay. It's a nice. This is a nice plant. I like it. Where else? Here we go. Okay, so when I get to the lady fern part, I like to. Let's get this. Let's get this in here fast. Alright. I like to get the small one. And I like to put this one inside cracks of rocks. This breaks up the rocks a little bit more. And it gives it a little bit more of a realistic feeling. Now, try not to overdo it. I think, like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, you know. If you're looking at a wall and it's on every nook and cranny, you did it. If you're looking at a wall, it's on there maybe once, twice, 3 times even, like, that's fine. Alright, cool. Let's add our flowers. I like to start with the dwarf cornel. Oh, you know what? I forgot one of my favorites, the sage. I feel like this really adds to the color as well. Let's get this. I used to do things, honestly guys, like I used to do things with just one bush, one plant. because I know it's hard work to like having to go in here and place so many different types of bushes. But it's so worth it. Like the end result is so much better when you use multiple plants rather than just one. It just looks a lot more natural. I don't know. It's nice. Just it varies the color a lot. You know, it adds to it. So I highly, 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 highly encourage you guys to do the same thing too when you're building your habitats or your areas. A lot of these tips don't only apply to habitats because I mean you could do this out in your entry plaza. Like the same concepts apply out there than they do here. You know, so um, yeah, it's all about just the aesthetic, the look of it. There we go. Okay, look at what that sage did. I know, maybe it doesn't feel like a lot. To me, it feels like a lot, but it feels like it really changes it up. Okay, let's go ahead and start with that dwarf Cornell. I like to do the small one. Let's add it in a few spots. Now, when I'm putting down flowers, I like to think, like, where do they like, it's gonna sound funny, where do they congregate? You know, like, where do they get together? Like, I'm sure, like, one hanging out there is cool, but where are the patches, you know? Because I'm sure you when you go places, like, you see these patches where, like, you could tell the plant loves being there, you know? So, make those patches when you're putting down your plants or your flowers. Make some spots where, you know, there's a lot of dwarf cornels or a spot where there's a lot of Labrador tea flowers or whatever it is, you know, just keep in mind kind of what it looks like in nature when you go out, when you're going to do stuff. Alright, let's move on to the Labrador tea. I really like this because I feel like it really matches a lot of the colors. I don't like how that looked, but let's change that. There we go. I like to kind of hide these in the trees or in the bush. I feel like they look really cool when they're hidden. Just like popping out a little bit. Another thing about these is when I first started using them, I didn't like them at all because, I mean, you look kind of funny, you know, like the model for the flowers. I mean, I understand why you don't want to put a whole bunch of like high poly flowers in the game, you know, and then you're putting down a bunch of these and your game is super slow because you got flowers everywhere, but I don't know. It looks weird, but you know what? I don't mind it anymore. It doesn't bother me. It used to, but it doesn't bother me anymore. Alright, folks, we're almost done here. We are almost done with this habitat. We have taken all the steps that we could. We've come a long way. We've come a long way from what this used to be. Alright. There you have it, guys. This is our habitat. So we learned about the rocks, we learned about the pathing, we learned a little bit about placing trees, placing plants, a little bit about the railing. I hope this video was informative for everyone, and if you have any questions, just feel free to let me know, or visit my subreddit. I'll put some links and wherever I put this video. Thanks so much.